The science ship Horizon moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its white hull gleamed under the distant stars as it reached the edge of mapped space. Inside the ship, the crew worked at their stations, checking readings and watching screens. "Captain Park, I'm picking up something strange," said Jae-ho Kim, looking up from his screen. His dark eyes were wide with surprise. Captain Hana Park turned her chair toward the science station. "What kind of strange, Officer Kim?" "A signal, Captain. But it's not like anything in our database," Jae-ho said, tapping commands into his console. "It's coming from that system ahead, the one that isn't on our charts." Hana walked to his station and looked at the readings. The signal pulsed in an odd pattern that made no sense. It wasn't random, but it didn't follow any known language or code. "How far?" she asked. "About 3 days at full speed," Jae-ho answered. Hana nodded and returned to her chair. "Set course. I want to know what's making that signal." As the crew prepared the ship to change direction, Do-yoon Lee spoke up from his station at the back of the bridge. Do-yoon was the ship's historian, a quiet man who rarely joined discussions unless asked. "Captain, that region has a name in old spacer tales," he said. "They call it the Graveyard of Gods." The bridge grew quiet. Everyone turned to look at him. "What kind of name is that?" asked Soo-min, the communications officer. Do-yoon shrugged. "The stories say it's a place where even the strongest races met their end. Ships go in, but they don't come out. The tales go back hundreds of years, to the early days of space travel." Lieutenant Min Ji-kang, head of security, laughed. "Ghost stories to scare new spacers. Every part of space has them." "Agreed," said Hana with a smile. "Though I'm surprised you know such old tales, Do-yoon." "My grandmother told them to me as a child," he answered. "She learned them from her grandfather, who was on one of the first deep space missions." Ta-woo Park, the science director and Jae-ho's boss, shook his head. "Stories grow with each telling. What was once a simple meteor shower becomes a graveyard of gods in a few generations." "Course is set, Captain," called out the pilot. "Ready when you are." Hana looked at the main screen, where the unknown system waited. Was there a moment of doubt in her mind? If so, she didn't show it. "Proceed at full speed," she ordered. "And Jae-ho, keep tracking that signal. I want to know if it changes in any way." "Yes, Captain." The Horizon changed direction, its engines glowing blue against the blackness of space. For 3 days, they traveled toward the signal. It grew stronger but no clearer. Jae-ho spent hours trying to understand it, but the pattern remained a mystery. On the 3rd day, they reached the edge of the system. It was an old star, red and dim, with 5 planets orbiting it. The signal came from the 3rd planet. "Scan the planet," ordered Hana. The screens filled with data as the ship's sensors examined the distant world. "It's not coming from the planet," Jae-ho said suddenly. "It's coming from something in orbit around it." The main screen zoomed in, and everyone on the bridge fell silent. There, hanging in space, was a ship, but it was like no ship they had ever seen. It was massive, at least 20 times the size of the Horizon *. Its dark hull was covered in strange markings that seemed to shift when looked at directly. It's dead," said Jae-ho, checking his readings. "No power, no life signs. It's been there for, I can't even tell how long." "The signal?" asked Hana. "Coming from inside it. Some kind of automatic system must still be working." Hana stood up, her eyes fixed on the giant derelict ship. "Prepare a boarding party," she said. "I want to know what that thing is." Behind her, Do-yoon looked at the ancient vessel with worry in his eyes, remembering his grandmother's warnings about the Graveyard of Gods. The small shuttle left the Horizon and moved slowly toward the giant alien ship. Inside the shuttle, Security Chief Min-ji checked her weapon one last time. With her were Jae-ho, Engineer Jin-woo, and 2 security officers. "Remember," Min-ji said, "we touch nothing without checking first." Stay together at all times. The shuttle reached the dark hull of the alien vessel. It was even more impressive up close. Strange patterns covered the surface, flowing like water but made of solid metal. "I found what looks like an entry point," said the pilot, "bringing us in now." The shuttle docked against a large opening in the hull. The team put on their spacesuits and checked their air supplies. "Comms check," said Minji. Everyone replied that their communication systems were working. "Captain Park, we're ready to enter," Minji reported. "Proceed with caution," came Hannah's voice over the radio. "And keep your channel open. We want to hear everything." The team entered the alien ship through an airlock that, surprisingly, still worked after who knew how many years. Their lights cut through the darkness inside, showing a vast corridor that stretched far beyond their beams. "There's still air in here," said Jai-Ho, checking his readings. "Old and stale, but breathable." "Keep your helmets on anyway," ordered Minji. They walked deeper into the ship. The walls were covered with the same flowing patterns they had seen outside. The corridors were huge, as if made for beings much larger than humans. "This place is ancient," whispered Jinwoo, running his hand along a wall. "But the technology, it's like nothing I've ever seen." "Look at this," called Jai-Ho from up ahead. He stood in front of a large doorway that opened into a massive room. The team entered what seemed to be a control center. Strange chairs too big for humans sat before curved panels. Symbols glowed faintly on some screens, pulsing with dim light. "The ship still has some power," said Jinwoo with wonder in his voice. "After all this time." "Captain, are you seeing this?" asked Minji, using her helmet camera to show the bridge of the Horizon what they were seeing. "Yes," replied Hana. "It's amazing." Jinwoo moved toward one of the control panels. "These symbols, they remind me of something I saw in an old book once. Not the same, but similar." "Don't touch anything yet," warned Minji. But Jinwoo was already reaching out. "I just want to see if." His fingers brushed against a glowing symbol. The room suddenly lit up. All the panels came to life, filling with bright symbols and images. A loud humming filled the air as systems that had slept for ages woke up. "What did you do?" demanded Minji, raising her weapon. "Nothing. I barely touched it." Jinwoo backed away from the panel. A beam of light shot down from the ceiling, scanning each of them from head to toe. Then it widened and formed a shape in the center of the room. The shape became clearer until it looked like a tall figure made of light. "It's some kind of hologram," said Jai-Ho, his voice filled with awe. The figure of light looked at them with eyes that seemed too aware for a simple recording. When it spoke, the sound filled their minds rather than their ears. "Access granted. Guardian Protocol 7 activated. Beginning scan of new species." The control room's screens change, showing images from Earth, cities, people, history. The images flashed by faster than the eye could follow. "It's accessing our ship's database," called Su Min's panicked voice from the Horizon. "It's taking everything, our entire history, all our knowledge." "Disconnect the systems," ordered Hana. "I can't. It's locked us out." The light figure studied them, its featureless face somehow showing curiosity and concern. "Species identified. Human. Threat assessment in progress." "We mean no harm," said Jai-Ho, stepping forward. "We are explorers." The figure tilted its head. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke in perfect Korean. "All explorers say the same. Then they take what is not theirs to take." The figure grew larger, filling the room with blinding light. "Warning. You have entered restricted space. You must leave immediately and never return. This region is under quarantine by order of the High Council of Shapers." "Shapers?" asked Jinwoo. "Who are the Shapers?" The figure of light seemed to sigh, a sound like wind through ancient trees. "Those you would call gods." The boarding team stood frozen as the light figure grew brighter. Minji had her weapon ready, But what good would it do against a being made of light? What do you mean by quarantine? Asked Jai-Ho, trying to keep his voice calm. Is there a danger here? The figure, Guardian Protocol 7, seemed to study him for a moment. This region of space was sealed off 10 million years ago after the War of Shapers. What sleeps here must not wake. On the bridge of the Horizon Asterisk, Captain Hannah listened to this exchange with growing concern. The ship's systems were still locked out, with Guardian Protocol 7 sifting through their databases. Ask it what the War of Shapers was, she directed through the comms. Jai-Ho repeated the question. The light figure dimmed slightly, as if remembering something painful. The Shapers were beings you would call gods. They shaped stars and planets at will. They created life across the galaxy. But they fought among themselves, and their war nearly destroyed everything. And this ship? Asked Jinwoo. What is it? This vessel is not merely a ship. It is a prison and a tomb. The figure moved closer to Jinwoo. You must leave now. Your presence risks awakening what lies dormant. Back on the Horizon Asterisk, Du-Yum was searching frantically through the ship's historical archives that hadn't been locked out. Captain, he called. I found something. Ancient star charts from Earth's earliest days of space exploration. Look at the markings on this region. Hannah looked at his screen. A crude star map showed this exact region marked with a symbol of danger in multiple human languages, some so old they were barely recognizable. The warnings go back to before we even had space travel, Du-Yum said, his voice filled with wonder. How is that possible? On the alien ship, Guardian Protocol 7 continued its warning. I have reviewed your species' history. You are young, curious, and dangerous, like all young species, but you are not ready for what lies here. For your own survival, you must depart. Minji stepped forward. We need to report our findings to our leaders. We can't just leave without understanding what we found. The light figure pulsed with what seemed like frustration. That is what they all say before the end comes. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. Lights flickered along the walls. What was that? Demanded Minji. You have been here too long, said Guardian Protocol 7. Systems are beginning to reactivate. Leave now, while you still can. We need to go, Jai-Ho said urgently. Now. The team hurried back toward their shuttle. As they ran through the corridors, they noticed the patterns on the walls were moving faster, glowing brighter. On the Horizon Asterisk, Hannah made a decision. Prepare to transmit all our findings to Earth Command. Full data package. But Captain, said Sumin, the protocol is still in our systems. It will know what we're sending. It already knows everything about us. Hannah replied. No point in hiding now. Back on the alien vessel, the team reached their shuttle just as another tremor shook the ship. Captain, we're aboard the shuttle, reported Minji. Preparing to disengage. Hurry, urged Hannah. As the shuttle pulled away from the massive ship, they saw parts of it beginning to glow. Lines of light spread across its hull like veins filling with fire. Guardian Protocol 7 appeared on the screens of both the shuttle and the Horizon Asterisk. You have made a grave error. You have awakened systems dormant for eons. If you value your species, you will destroy all records of this location and never return. The transmission to Earth Command completed just as the alien ship released a pulse of energy that knocked out the Horizon's main power. Emergency systems kicked in, bringing minimal functions back online. It was a warning shot, said Tawu, checking the damage reports. It could have destroyed us. Du-Yum stood at his station, looking at an old book he had brought from Earth, a collection of ancient myths. Captain, he said quietly, my grandmother told me stories about the sleeper who must not wake. I always thought they were just tales to frighten children. But look. He opened the book to a page showing a drawing of a massive ship with flowing lines across its hull, a crude but unmistakable depiction of the vessel they had just encountered. How did our ancestors know about this? Whispered Hannah. The alien ship now hung in space, fully illuminated, its presence somehow more threatening than before. 3 days after their encounter with the alien ship, the Horizon stayed at a safe distance, watching and waiting. The crew had fixed most of the damage from the energy pulse. Captain Hannah met with her officers in the ship's meeting room. Earth Command has responded to our report, she said, her face serious. They're sending the battlecruiser Thunderbolt to our location. Admiral Junho is in command. Admiral Junho. Minja looked surprised. They're sending our top military commander. They see great value in what we found. Hannah showed them the message from Earth. They want us to secure the alien vessel for study. That's crazy, said Jinwoo. Didn't they understand our warnings about Guardian Protocol 7? They did, replied Hannah. They just don't believe them. They think it's an automated defense system, nothing more. Do-yoon, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What about the connection to our ancient myths? The drawings that match this ship exactly. They say it's just a coincidence, said Hannah, or that early space explorers might have seen this ship and created stories about it. But some of these myths are thousands of years old, argued Do-yoon, from before we had space travel. Ta-woo raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting this ship visited Earth in the past? I don't know, admitted Do-yoon, but something doesn't add up. 5 days later, the Thunderbolt arrived. It was the pride of Earth's fleet, 3 times the size of the Horizon and armed with the best weapons humans had created. It carried a full team of scientists and soldiers. Admiral Junho was a tall man with a stern face. He met with Captain Hannah and her officers on the Thunderbolt. Your discovery could change everything, Captain Park, he said. The technology on that ship is millions of years ahead of ours. Just imagine what we could learn. With respect, Admiral, said Hannah, Guardian Protocol 7 made it clear we should leave. It called that ship a prison. Junho waved his hand dismissively. An automated message from a long-dead civilization. Nothing more. It accessed our entire database in seconds, argued Jaiho. It's far more than a simple recording. Which is exactly why we need to study it, replied Junho. Think of the advantages such technology would give Earth. The next day, teams from the Thunderbolt began to board the alien vessel. The scientists brought special equipment to extract and study the alien technology. Soldiers went with them for protection. Guardian Protocol 7 appeared as soon as they entered. You have returned despite my warning, it said, and you bring weapons and tools of theft. We come to learn, said the lead scientist, a woman named Unji. Knowledge belongs to all. Some knowledge is too dangerous, replied the protocol. Leave now. Final warning. Admiral Junho, watching from the Thunderbolt ordered them to continue. It's just trying to scare us away, he said. Push forward. The teams moved deeper into the ship than before. They found rooms filled with strange devices and began to take samples and readings. Each time they removed something, the ship trembled slightly, and the flowing patterns on the walls moved faster. On the Horizon Do-yoon watched with growing dread. He had spent days studying the ancient myths, finding more connections between them and this place. Captain, he said to Hannah, in every story, in every culture, the warnings are the same. Do not wake the sleeper. The prison must remain sealed. Over and over. I know, said Hannah quietly, but what can we do? Earth Command has decided. On the alien ship, scientist Yunji made an exciting discovery. Admiral, we found what appears to be the ship's core. She reported excitedly. There's a massive chamber below us. Energy readings are off the charts. Excellent, replied Junho. Proceed immediately. As the team prepared to enter the core chamber, Guardian Protocol 7 appeared again. For the first time, it seemed truly alarmed. You must not enter that chamber, it said. its voice urgent. What sleeps there has destroyed entire civilizations. More threats, scoffed Jun-Ho over the comm. Ignore it and proceed. The protocol turned to face the cameras, as if looking directly at Jun-Ho. You were warned, it said simply. Yun-Jai led her team down to the core chamber of the alien ship. The corridor they followed was larger than the others, with walls that pulsed with brighter light. 6 soldiers walked with the scientists, weapons ready. The energy readings are getting stronger, said Yun-Ji, checking her scanner. Whatever's in there has enormous power. They reached a massive door at the end of the corridor. Unlike the other doors on the ship, this one was sealed shut. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing red. Can we open it? Asked the team leader. Yun-Ji studied the door. There seems to be a control panel here. Give me a minute. As she worked on the panel, Guardian Protocol 7 appeared beside her. I beg you to stop, it said. For millions of years, I have kept watch. What lies beyond must remain sealed. Admiral, the AI is back, reported one of the soldiers. Proceed with the mission, came Jun-Ho's firm voice through their comms. The protocol turned to face the cameras again. Admiral, you do not understand what you are about to unleash. The Shapers quarantined this region for a reason. And what reason is that? Asked Jun-Ho, curiosity finally getting the better of him. The being in stasis was once a Shaper, what you might call a god. It turned against its own kind. Billions died before it was finally captured and imprisoned here. On the bridge of the Horizon Du Yun gasped. Captain, that matches the oldest myth in my collection. The god who betrayed heaven. Hannah frowned. How could our ancestors know about something that happened millions of years ago? At the core chamber, Yun-Jai had figured out the door controls. I think I can open it now. Don't. The protocol pleaded, its light form growing brighter with urgency. Open it, ordered Jun-Ho. Yun-Ji pressed a sequence on the panel. The symbols on the door changed from red to blue. With a deep rumbling sound, the massive door began to slide open. A wave of energy burst from the chamber, knocking everyone back. All lights on both human ships suddenly went out. Emergency power kicked in seconds later, but most systems remained dead. What happened? Demanded Jun-Ho as the Thunderbolt's bridge lit up with dim emergency lighting. Massive energy surge, reported an officer. All main systems are offline. Inside the alien ship, Yun-Ji and her team picked themselves up from the floor. The door was now fully open, revealing a vast chamber beyond. In the center floated what looked like a giant crystal. Inside the crystal was a shadowy figure. As they watched, cracks appeared on the crystal's surface. Light poured from these cracks, filling the chamber. We need to leave, said Yun-Ji, sudden fear in her voice. Now. But it was too late. The crystal shattered, sending shards flying across the chamber. The team ducked for cover. When they looked up, a tall figure stood where the crystal had been. It looked almost human, but too perfect, too tall. Its skin glowed with the same patterns that covered the ship's walls. Its eyes opened, revealing swirling galaxies where pupils should be. Guardian Protocol 7 appeared, its light form dim next to the brightness of the being. The Warden Executor has awakened, it said, its voice filled with despair. May your gods forgive what we could not stop. The being, the Warden Executor, looked around slowly, as if waking from a long sleep. Then it saw the humans. It smiled, a terrible smile that held no warmth. It spoke, and somehow they all understood its words, as if they were placed directly into their minds. How interesting. New visitors after so long. Its voice was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Tell me, little ones, how long have I slept? 10 million years, stammered Yun-Ji. The Warden Executor's smile widened. A good rest. And now, I am hungry for stars again. Around them, the ship began to change. Dead systems came alive. Walls shifted and moved. The whole structure seemed to be rebuilding itself. On both human ships, all screens showed the same message. The whenThey has HFY prepare for judgment. The derelict ship transformed before their eyes. Its dark, dead hull now glowed with power. Broken sections healed themselves. New structures grew from nothing. What was once a giant wreck became something magnificent and terrible. Inside the core chamber, the Warden Executor raised its hand. Yunji and her team floated into the air, unable to move. "Your minds are so small, yet so interesting," said the Warden, examining them like curious insects. "Let me see more of your kind." A wave of energy left the ship, spreading outward. When it reached the Thunderbolt and the Horizon, both ships froze in space. Their engines died, their weapon systems went dark. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Admiral Junho watched in horror as the giant alien vessel transformed into what could only be described as a warship. It was now twice its original size, with structures that looked like weapons ports all along its hull. "Get our weapons back online," he ordered. "We're trying, sir." Nothing responds. The Warden Executor appeared on all screens on both ships. Its perfect face watched them with galaxy eyes. "Humans," it said, the word flowing like music. "You have freed me from my prison. For that, I will grant you the gift of knowledge before your end." The being waved its hand. All computers on both ships began to display images. Planets exploding, stars going dark, entire systems vanishing in bursts of light. "I am the last of the Warden Executors," it continued. "We were created by the Shapers to keep order in the universe, but I saw the truth, that the Shapers themselves were the greatest disorder." In the meeting room of the Horizon, Du Yun stared at the ancient book in his hands. "The betrayer god," he whispered. "The one who turned against heaven." "What?" asked Hana, who stood nearby. "Every human culture has this same story," Du Yun explained. "A powerful being who rebelled against the gods and was punished. But why do we all share this same tale?" Back on the alien warship, the Warden continued speaking to the humans it had captured. "I began removing the Shapers, one by one. They called it genocide. I called it cleaning. 3,000 worlds burned before they finally captured me." "Why?" Yunji managed to speak despite the force holding her. "Why are you telling us this?" The Warden smiled. "Because your kind carries the memory. I see it in your myths, your stories. Somehow, the truth of what happened here was passed to your world long ago." On the Horizon, Du Yun suddenly realized something. He rushed to the bridge, where Captain Hana was trying to restore the ship's systems. "Captain, I understand now," he said, his voice excited despite their dire situation. "Our myths aren't just stories. They're warnings. Somehow, knowledge of the Warden was planted in human consciousness, passed down through generations." "How is that possible?" asked Hana. "I don't know, but look." He showed her illustrations from different human cultures, all showing similar beings with galaxy eyes. "These are too specific to be coincidence." The Warden's voice continued to fill both ships. "Your species interests me. You carry fragments of memories that are not your own. Someone wanted you to remember." Admiral Junho had heard enough. He gave a secret signal to his weapons officer, who activated a hidden emergency system. A single missile launched from the Thunderbolt toward the alien warship. The missile never reached its target. It simply dissolved halfway there, turning to dust. The Warden appeared on the Thunderbolt's main screen, looking directly at Junho. "A brave attempt," it said, "but futile." With a gesture, the Warden pulled the Thunderbolt closer to its warship. The massive human vessel moved like a toy in the grip of a giant. "Now," said the Warden, "let me show you true power." The warship's hull opened like a flower, revealing a core of light so bright it was painful to look at. Energy gathered there, building to impossible levels. "The quarantine is broken," said Guardian Protocol 7, appearing one last time on the Horizon's screens. "The galaxy will burn again." The Thunderbolt hung helpless before the alien warship. Inside, Admiral Jun-Ho gripped his command chair as systems failed around him. "Sir, what do we do?" asked his second-in-command, fear clear in her voice. Jun-Ho had no answer. His weapons were useless. His ship was trapped. He had led them all into this trap by ignoring the warnings. On the Horizon Captain Hannah made a decision. "Open a direct channel to the Warden," she ordered. "Captain, what are you doing?" asked Sumin. "Something other than waiting to die," Hannah replied. The Warden's face appeared on her screen, those galaxy eyes staring directly at her. "You wish to speak, little human?" it asked, sounding amused. "Yes," said Hannah, standing tall. "You say you've studied our history through our databases. Then you know we're not like other species you've met." The Warden tilted its head. "All young species are the same. Curious, greedy, destructive." "Not us," Hannah insisted. "We've faced extinction many times in our history. Each time, we survived through cooperation and creativity." "An interesting claim," said the Warden. "But I see much violence in your past. Yes, we fight. We make mistakes. But we learn from them. We grow." Hannah stepped closer to the screen. "The Shapers imprisoned you because you couldn't see the value in diversity, in change." For the first time, the Warden seemed truly interested. "You defend the Shapers, the beings you've never met." "I defend life," said Hannah. "All life has value." While this conversation continued, Du Yun and Su Min were working quietly at a side console on the Horizon *. They had discovered something important in the data they had collected from the alien ship before the Warden awoke. "Look at this," whispered Du Yun. "The Guardian Protocol wasn't designed to keep the Warden imprisoned forever." "What do you mean?" asked Su Min. "The stasis was temporary. The beings who defeated the Warden, they knew it couldn't be contained forever." Du Yun pointed to symbols on his screen. "This isn't just a warning. It's instructions." "Instructions for what?" "For whoever found the Warden." It was a test. The Shapers wanted to see if new species could handle the threat when it eventually awoke. On the alien warship, Yunji and her team remained suspended in the air before the Warden. But the scientist had been listening carefully to Captain Hannah's words. She gathered her courage to speak. "You say we're like all young species," she said to the Warden. "But if that's true, why do our myths contain warnings about you specifically? Someone wanted us to be ready for you." The Warden turned to her, its perfect face showing surprise for the first time. "What do you know of this?" it demanded. On the Thunderbolt Admiral Jun-Ho was finally humbled by the situation. He opened a channel to the Horizon *. "Captain Park," he said, "I was wrong to dismiss the warnings. What do you suggest we do now?" "We talk," replied Hannah. "And we listen. The Warden is powerful, but it's been alone for 10 million years. It's curious about us." The Warden suddenly appeared on both ships at once. "Enough talk," it said. "I have decided on your test." "Test?" asked Jun-Ho. "Yes, I will attack your homeworld with a fraction of my power. If your species can mount any defense at all, I will consider sparing you." Hannah's face paled. "And if we fail?" "Then you join the long list of species I have removed from this galaxy." The Warden smiled. "Consider it a game." "This isn't a game," shouted Jun-Ho. "These are billions of lives." "To you," said the Warden. "To me, they are merely moments in time, brief sparks that flare and die." Du Yun stepped forward on the Horizon *. "You're wrong," he said, his voice steady despite his fear. "The Shapers didn't imprison you here just to keep you away. They put you here as a challenge for species like us." The Warden's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "This was never meant to be a permanent prison. It was a test ground. The Shapers wanted to see if any species could grow strong enough, wise enough, to face you. That's why our myths contain warnings. They were preparing us. For the first time, the warden looked uncertain. An interesting theory. Let us test it then. With a wave of its hand, the alien warship began to move, dragging the Thunderbolt with it. All communications between the human ships suddenly cut off. You have 30 of your days before I reach your world, the warden announced. Try to warn them if you can. We need to warn Earth, said Captain Hana, pacing the bridge of the Horizon *. But all long-range communications are blocked by the warden. The alien warship was moving away, pulling the Thunderbolt with it. Soon both would be out of sight. What about the quantum communications array we found on the alien ship? Suggested Jio. Before the warden woke up, we were studying it. It uses technology we don't understand, but it might be able to send a message that could bypass the warden's blocking. Can we access it? Asked Hana. Jaiho looked troubled. Maybe. But someone would have to go back to the alien ship and activate it manually. That's suicide, said Minji. The warden would find them immediately. Not necessarily, said Jinwoo, the engineer. I noticed something when we were there. The ship is huge, with many hidden areas. The warden can't be everywhere at once, even with its powers. Hana thought for a moment. Could you do it, Jinwoo? Could you activate the array? Jinwoo nodded slowly. I think so. I studied the controls before everything went wrong. I'll go with him, volunteered Jio. I can help interpret the alien systems. Hana shook her head. No. We need you here, Jiho. The Horizon is damaged, and you're our best science officer. I'll need to work fast, said Jinwoo. And I'll need a distraction. Do-yoon, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. I think I know how we can distract the warden, at least for a while. Everyone turned to look at him. The warden is curious about our myths. Do-yoon explained, about how humans knew of its existence before we found it. If Captain Hana keeps it talking, asking it questions about the Shapers, about its past, it might not notice one small human sneaking around its ship, finished Hana. It's worth a try. They quickly made a plan. Jinwoo would take a small maintenance pod to the alien warship. These pods were used for external repairs and were small enough to avoid detection. Meanwhile, Hana would contact the warden and keep it distracted with questions. As Jinwoo prepared the pod, Hana took him aside. This is incredibly dangerous, she said quietly. If the warden finds you. Jinwoo nodded. I know, but we have no choice. Earth has no defense against something like this. Once you send the message, get out immediately, Hana ordered. Don't wait. Don't try to do anything else. I understand, Captain. The plan went into action. Jinwoo launched in the maintenance pod, while Hana opened a channel to the warden. Warden Executor, she called. I wish to speak with you further. The beautiful, terrible face appeared on her screen. More questions, little human. Your species is certainly persistent. I want to understand, said Hana. You've existed for millions of years. You've seen things we can only imagine. Will you share your knowledge with us? The warden seemed pleased by this request. What would you like to know? As Hana kept the warden talking, Jinwoo's pod reached the alien warship. He found a small maintenance hatch that the warden had overlooked in its transformation of the ship. Slipping inside, he made his way through narrow service tunnels toward where they had discovered the quantum communications array. The ship was alive now, pulsing with energy. Jinwoo had to move carefully to avoid detection. Twice he had to hide as strange mechanical creatures patrolled the corridors. They seemed to be extensions of the warden itself, its eyes and ears throughout the massive vessel. Finally, he reached the communications room. The array was there, now fully powered up as part of the ship's systems. Jinwoo worked quickly, using what he had learned from their earlier studies. I need to send all the data we collected, he muttered to himself, and a warning about what's coming. He connected his datapad to the alien system and began the transmission. Earth was so far away that even with this advanced technology, it would take precious minutes to send everything. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Jinwoo froze. On a nearby screen, he saw the warden's face, now filled with anger. "Did you think I wouldn't notice your little spy?" it said to Hana. "Your attempt at deception is pathetic." Jinwoo knew he was discovered, but the transmission wasn't complete yet. "Just a little longer," he whispered, watching the progress bar on his datapad. "Just a little more time." "Run!" Captain Hana shouted through the comm link to Jinwoo. "The warden knows you're there." Jinwoo checked his datapad. The transmission was at 89%. "Almost done," he replied. "Just a few more seconds." The door to the communications room burst open. Two of the warden's mechanical servants entered, their eyes glowing with the same galaxy light as their master. Jinwoo ducked behind the array. The transmission reached 95%. "Your efforts are futile," came the warden's voice from all around him. "Even if your warning reaches Earth, they cannot stop me." "Maybe not," Jinwoo answered, "but they deserve a chance to try." The transmission completed, 100%. All the data about the alien ship, the warden, and its weaknesses had been sent to Earth. Jinwoo smiled as the mechanical servants closed in. "It's done," he said into his comm. "Captain, get the Horizon out of here. Tell them we never stopped fighting." On the bridge of the Horizon Hana heard Jinwoo's last message before his comm went silent. Tears filled her eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed," she ordered. "We need to get there before the warden." The Horizon began to move away. To their surprise, the warden did not stop them. Its voice came over their comms one last time. "Run home, little humans. Tell them what is coming. It will make the game more interesting." Weeks passed as both the Horizon and the warden's ship raced toward Earth. The alien vessel was faster, but the Horizon had a head start. Hana and her crew worked tirelessly to repair their ship as they traveled. Do-yoon spent every waking hour studying the ancient myths, looking for any clue that might help them defeat the warden. When the Horizon finally reached Earth, they found something unexpected. The planet was surrounded by a fleet of ships. Old ships that had been in museums, new prototypes that had never been tested, civilian vessels converted for defense. Every ship humanity could fly had been called into service. "What is this?" asked Hana as they approached. "Your warning was received, Captain Park," replied the Earth Defense Commander. "We've been preparing." "But how can you hope to stop the warden? Its technology is millions of years beyond ours." "Not entirely," said the commander. "Your data transmission contained more than just warnings. It had detailed scans of the alien ship's technology. Our scientists found something surprising." "What?" Some of it looked familiar. Very, very old human technologies that we abandoned centuries ago had similarities to the alien designs. It's as if we once knew some of this technology, but forgot it. Do-yoon's eyes widened. "That's it. That's why we have the myths, why we remembered the warden before we found it." 3 days later, the warden's warship arrived at Earth. It dwarfed even the largest human vessels. The Thunderbolt was still attached to it, its crew presumably prisoners. The warden's beautiful face appeared on screens across Earth and every ship in the fleet. "Impressive," it said, seeing the defensive formation. "You managed to assemble toys to face a god." "We're ready for you," replied the Earth Defense Commander. The warden laughed. "Let us begin then." It fired a single energy beam at one of Earth's ships. But instead of destroying it, the beam was caught in a shimmering field around the vessel. "What?" For the first time, the warden seemed genuinely surprised. More beams fired, and more were caught or deflected. Earth ships began to return fire, using weapons hastily built using the ancient designs rediscovered from Jin Wu's data. The Warden's ship took damage, minor, but damage nonetheless. Impossible, it said. How do you have this technology? Do Yum stepped forward on the Horizon's bridge. Because it was ours all along, he said. The Shapers didn't just quarantine you. They seeded our world with knowledge. Fragments of their technology hidden in our oldest memories, waiting for us to grow advanced enough to understand it. The Warden's face showed a new emotion, realization. You're not just another victim species, Yum continued. We're the contingency plan, the final defense they created against you. The Warden's warship stopped attacking. For a long moment, it simply hung in space, as if considering. Clever, it finally said. Very clever. The Shapers always did think many steps ahead. Its ship began to turn away from Earth. Where are you going? Demanded Hana. To wait, replied the Warden. You are not ready yet. But someday, you will be. And when that day comes, we will finish this game properly. The warship released the Thunderbolt and vanished in a flash of light that bent the stars themselves. Earth was safe for now, but humanity knew that somewhere among the stars, the Warden was watching, waiting for them to reach their full potential.